Hey, what's happening? It's Bill Smith. I left off here in the last video about the coronavirus. I'm kind of late to the game on this. I've been tracking it though since the day it went live in the news. So I know a little bit about it. As always, one of the best places to get this information is on 4chan.org/poll, P-O-L. I think that's where I got this. I just wanted to drop this in here. I've already talked about it, but this is what people are calculating the risk to individual populations. I guess based on genetic markers, genetic lines. I'm only showing you this because no one else in the news is going to ever show this to you. They don't want you to think that it's possible that there might be a difference in genetic susceptibility to the coronavirus, although it looks that way so far. So I'm just going to drop this in here so you can see where you land on the list. Peace of mind or freak out. Now, this seemed relevant. It's really interesting, the timing of this. Everybody kind of pointed out that it happened during the Chinese New Year. But while this virus was spreading among the first people in China, China was saying that they were going to rewrite the Bible and the Quran to reflect socialist values amid the crackdown on Muslim Uyghur minorities, as well as the Christian population over there in China. Now, it looks that like the Vatican and the Pope are like hand in hand with the Chinese Communist Party, so they're going to be on board with this. I'm only saying this because you're not supposed to rewrite the Bible. In fact, there are numerous quotes throughout the Bible that says, "No man shall add or take away anything that was written in the book." Here's something from the book of Revelation that we all like to turn to because we all know the fourth seal unleashes the bad spells of pestilence and sickness. So this is from the same book. It says, "And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of this prophecy, God will take away his share in the tree of life and in the holy city, which are described in this book." So it looks like China is getting a little bit of tough luck medicine right now. Okay, so I've saved a bunch of screenshots of tweets. I can go over videos, but you can find them on Twitter too. You just go type in coronavirus deaths, and you'll get stuff like this. What I've noticed in the past week is that body bags full of dead bodies are piling up in China. The word is that they're piling up so fast that the Chinese government cannot burn them fast enough. So there's these body bags laying everywhere. And it's not just one video. There's a handful of videos, might even be 10 or 12. I haven't seen them all, but all the ones I've seen all follow the same grim view of the city. The city's like empty and no one's outside and there's body bags laying everywhere and there's dead bodies on the streets. I've been seeing people go through what I call the Wuhan shake. And it's where like out of nowhere they're fine. It doesn't even look like they're sick. And then they just snap into a convulsion. They shake violently for like 30 seconds and then peter out. And then 10 minutes later they stop twitching. I can't show you those videos here because I'm worried I'll get in trouble. I'll get a strike, but you go type in coronavirus deaths over on Twitter. You can see all the videos you want. You've probably already seen this. This was the leaked death toll from this company called Tencent. It's like the 6th biggest company over in China. It's gigantic. The leak of this happened like 2 or 3 times last Saturday on the 7th, I believe. And people were saying multiple things like Tencent, it looks like, is tracking with 2 different data sets. There's the real data set they have, and then there's the data set they show everybody. And people were wondering if there was someone who knew this information and was trying to leak it out. Like I said, there was only a couple snapshots that this hit that web page, but people were able to grab it, and this is what the translation looks like. It looks like there were almost 25,000 people dead, and only about 300 of them were healed up and beat the illness. Those are bad numbers. I don't think they're that high, but I'm thinking the numbers from what I've seen, I'm guessing it's like 50%. So I think if you're just a poor farmer in China, you catch this, you got a 50-50 chance of surviving. The number goes up to like 9 out of 10 survivals if you're a member of the Communist Party or a member of the military. But still, that's like a 5 to 10% chance of death, even under the best care possible inside the country of China. So when they tell you on TV, don't freak out and go eat at the Chinese restaurant, it's racist not to mix with Chinese people right now coming back from their New Year party. I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, do you want to stay alive, or do you want to not be seen as a xenophobic scaredy cat? I guess that's everybody's choice, but I would rather look foolish, stupid. I would rather everyone hate me and be alive than have everyone love me as a hero and be dead. Case in point, the very first guy that blew the whistle on this, the Chinese doctor that first circulated that there might be a new virus in town, was demonized by the Chinese authorities, and he just died. He was only 36 years old. He was a strong, healthy, resilient person. He was a doctor, so he probably had access to the best medical care, I'm guessing, unless the Chinese government hated him. But 36 years old, and he's dead. And he was a doctor. He's the one that found it, the first one. So, see it like you will. But there was another Chinese guy who's like, he's like a billionaire, and he had to leave the government or he had to leave their country. And he said that there's at least 50,000 people dead, and there's likely close to 1.5 million infection cases. That's what he said today. This is an early timeline released by some like medical student or something. I forgot who did it. Actually, no, it wasn't. I got his name down there. His name's Ian McKay. He's a PhD from Virology Down Under. Sounds like he's Australian. But this is a timeline of the events. Semi-related, here's an interesting article that says Bill Gates had a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. It's very interesting because the Gates Foundation is deep in on this coronavirus stuff. Read it as you will, post in the comments. I get tired of talking about this stuff. This guy's a creep. Basically, a Nazi? Would we call him that? I'm not sure. He is definitely a eugenicist. And I've heard that his dad was on the board for Planned Parenthood. I haven't confirmed that. Confirm it for me if you want. Post in the comments. I'll pin it. I talked about this in the past video. Okay, this guy got the coronavirus. He tested positive for it, which is weird because I heard that you can test negative and still have it. So it's like 50-50. But they caught it in him. They were able to prove that he did have it. He beat it. Went through his thing over there in Wuhan, came out shining on the other side. So the only white person that I know in the world that has got this virus has beaten it. So it's like a 1 out of 1. It's the best I can do for telling you who can get it, who's going to die from it. This is the logo for the level 4 virus lab that's in Wuhan. They were given multiple warnings in 2017 that this could backfire on them. They shouldn't have this over there, but they did it anyway. What's interesting is the logo, right? The logo for this place closely mirrors the logo for the Umbrella Corp, which is in Resident Evil, the game. And it's interesting that raccoon with 1 C is a perfect anagram for Corona. That's a pretty big coincidence for me. So, were they working on this? Who knew about it? Did the guy who just got indicted and arrested from Harvard, from their biochemistry labs, working with the Chinese, did he know something about it? I don't know. Part of me, the conspiracy theorist in me, I guess, if I could call myself that, really wants to get to the bottom of this stuff. Part of me wants to know why people are doing it, if they did actually do it on purpose. Was this part of a vaccine program to only protect Chinese that blew up in their faces? Some of that stuff seems a little suspect to me. I think if anything happened, maybe I'll save that for a different video. I mean, I have what I think happened, but the stuff is still evolving. But I've seen a bunch of links from the Chan boards that go directly to real-life medical research. And this one points out that there's a big connection between the HIV virus and this novel coronavirus. 2 totally different viruses, genetically spliced, to create a super virus. Is that true? I don't know. There seems to be a lot of evidence pointing in that direction. This is another scientific journal entry. Same thing. Although this one got pulled immediately, but it says that the entry point, the protein spike, is very similar to the HIV virus, and that there's no way this could happen in the wild. That it was likely a genetically spliced virus strain. All right, I got off there on a bunny hill for myself, but hey, remember those FEMA coffins and all those FEMA camps? Is that starting to make sense now? Also, this is the first guy to die. They call him an American, but he looks fairly Chinese to me. Not saying he didn't have American citizenship. I'm just saying that when people are trying to figure out if people from their genetic variant are predisposed to getting this virus and dying from it, they really want to know who these people are, where they're from. You know, it's one thing to say you're an American. It's another thing to say you're a Chinese American, who this person is. Anyway, he worked at a Berkeley lab, similar to the guy that worked for Harvard. Now, I'm not saying anything about conspiracies with Israel, but I do know that Harvard has a large Jewish population in the professorships. So large so that I've heard that most white professors, Caucasians, Gentile professors are being run out of there, and the only professors they hire now at Harvard are Jewish. It's interesting because that guy just got arrested. I told you that earlier. All right, this is the guy, Charles Lieber. He's 60. Chair of the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Harvard University. Was arrested. Criminal complaint of lying, basically. His last name was Lieber, like I said. He's from Harvard. It's important because since 2013, China has donated over $1 billion to United States higher education, with Harvard being the number one recipient of that money. USC is a big one too. I read that like 40% of Berkeley is Chinese students, so that's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with. All I'm saying is the Chinese people really like to steal research. It's like almost the only thing they do. So it seems weird that this is all kind of coming together. All right, I'm on poll. I can't find this thing I was looking for earlier. There's a guy in a Chinese quarantine camp, like an official, legit one, and he was releasing death figures. He says that if you're over in China right now and you're in one of these places, one of these quarantine facilities, if you develop the pneumonia that these people are catching, you got a 99% chance of death. He said they can't burn the bodies fast enough. So that's why they're doing you see all those sulfur clouds now from burning all those bodies, those flamethrowers at night. Like, just get on Twitter and look at the videos on the coronavirus. You'll see all kinds of crazy stuff. That's where a lot of this is coming from. But the Chinese ambassador to the United States had the chance to deny that the coronavirus came from a biological weapons lab, and he did not deny it. That happened today. Worth noting. Also, again from the Chan board, says Kim Jong-un canceled a big parade with no real explanation, just as a South Korean press reports that coronavirus has hit North Korea hard and could explode there. All I see is panic, okay? That's all I see. The words that I hear people use are, the flu is worse, and did you get your flu vaccine? But then I look at what is going on, and all I can see is panic. So I have a hard time trusting official channels of the mainstream media at this point, as I'm sure you do as well. All right, cool, I found it. Okay, so I had this saved. This is from just the other day. I'm going to read through this. I'm pretty sure it checks out. So it was a dated photo. This guy's over there. He left a reflection so he could figure out where he was at. So this is a guy from over there in Wuhan. It says, I'm a lab technician at Huo Shinshan Hospital in Wuhan. The situation is so much worse than you know. Reported death of coronavirus are just those of a sudden type, not the pneumonic ones. Daily death counts removes the pneumonic patients who do not return. Whole sections of hospitals, 200 rooms each, and not recorded. They are filled immediately with new pneumonic patients. Please know we are trying, but this is simply too much. It says, how many pneumonic deaths have there been? How bad is the situation? His only guess is 200 to 400 a day. This is a dated photo from there. It says it's a hard site to access. It says, only a short time now, no one knows how much to say. Do not believe what the government says. 99% of pneumonic patients have left and do not return. Fever of sudden death is near 30% and no symptoms, but diagnosis is a 5 to 10% rate. No data from the other Army and party infected recover much higher rate, administered by Army docs only. Other recovery lineage reports less than 50% Chinese. Would post more photos, but workers are here. I'm typing this under a table. And there he is. So it's kind of the proof that he's there. This is terrible news if you're in China right now. All I can say is buckle up. Till next time, this is Bill Smith. Thanks for watching.